Five of Discs, upright. The Five of Discs is a reminder that at the end of the day, no matter how stable you may think things are, change is still and always the only constant. This card invites you to reconsider your values, to discover what you truly find meaningful in the world. You may have an attachment to a certain physical thing or things, but is it really that important to you? It's time to check your heart and ego before you destroy yourself by your fear alone. The strength and stability of the Four of Discs has experienced a turbulent motion which has led to a potent change in the material world. Worry is experienced facing the fear of loss. Patch sits with his thoughts of losing what he loves, yet around him the castle still stands. Upright, worry. Reversed, disaster. Tree of life, Jabura. Astral signature, Mercury in Taurus. Key words: fear, depletion, instability of matter, strain, worry, isolation, insecurity, poverty. Expanded description. The Five of Discs is the result of what happens when we cling too tightly to our possessions and allow attachment to take us over. This card represents ideas of worry, strain, instability of matter, and isolation, or very simply, the lessening of material goods in our lives. It is typically onset when we become rigidly attached to our possessions and then let those feelings get the better of us. In this card, a Patch character has been put into a position of survival, having been pushed into physical instability. Patch sits in his home worrying about losing the wealth that he has established. He is focused on what could happen and seeing it as if it's actually happening. This invites us to recognize the link between mind and matter and see that it is because of our attachments to things that cause us to feel worry in the first place. The Five of Discs does not necessarily mean the ultimate destruction of your stability, but certainly implies the fear that comes with losing a physical attachment. This card presents a difficult concept to reconcile, facing the truth of our attachments. Do you have fears about losing money, wealth, or employment? How about worries of losing your health? If we are treating our bodies poorly or neglecting any aspect of our lives, then our very livelihood will go down the drain, and we will most certainly create more loss in the health of our body of consciousness as a result. Take this time to observe these fears and look for the core thoughts and feelings, acknowledging where they stem from. While we do need certain things to live a comfortable life, we must be open to all the changes of life and be able to adapt with flexibility. Part of the challenge by this card is that we have a very flexible planet, Mercury, interacting with a very inflexible constellation, Taurus, which only serves to disrupt. This card may also signify a time of being alone or with only our closest family for support. This is a time to find peace and reassurance from within ourselves or a small group, and resolving whatever is causing our worry. If you are driven by material aspects of life, this card is a great wake-up call to urge you to shift your priorities to focusing inward. Five of Discs, reversed. The reverse of the Five of Discs is the notion that by our worries and fears of losing our material possessions, we have pushed these things out of our lives and now find ourselves experiencing a disaster of some kind. Now the feeling of loss has welled up and is manifest more into your reality, and we actively end up experiencing the emptiness which we so feared we would create, or some radical upheaval from what had seemed so stable. The Five of Discs reversed also implies that there is nobody out there who can help us with our needs, and even our families or the spiritual supports of the world have turned their backs on us or are simply not there. In many ways, this means that we are on our own, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but does imply that if we are going to get through this, it will be by our inner resolve alone. To turn this reversed card back upright, we must take account of several things. The first is that if we have cast ourselves into our own isolation and have chosen to distance ourselves from our families, friends, and loved ones, it might be time that we think about again reaching out and reconciling some of these relationships. By doing so, we can begin to heal our social network and gain some support where it is needed. It may take some apologizing and some hard conversations, but in the end, the communal heart will open up and all will return to goodness. In this, we are reminded that the scarcity truly existed beyond the physical, in the connection to ourselves and others. Secondly, if we are struggling financially, it may imply that we need to entirely rethink our life and what we really want for ourselves. Many people express that after having a great deal of abundance and then losing it all, they came to know deeper meanings and values to life that they didn't see before. And so this might be an incredible time of learning for you in this regard.